Amanda mentioned, I'm 31 years old with 3 boys, and we are survivors of domestic violence. And I say we because even though the boys weren't physically harmed, they were still emotionally affected by the situation. I was married to my husband for 5 years. I actually worked in a gym, and I saw him there in the gym. He was working out, and he walked by with the muscles. I'm like, oh. I worked there, and I was a receptionist. And I was reading a book called Living Holy in an Unholy World. And he peeped that out, he checked that out, that I was reading that book. So instead of just asking me on a regular date, he said, would you like to go out on a church picnic with me? I said, oh wow, this is great. He's into God, this is awesome. So we started dating, and there were signs when we were dating. I'm kind of a nurturer. As women, I think we naturally are. And as we began to talk, he shared about him being in a car accident. He was comatose for 2 months. He had to learn how to walk and talk and do everything all over. So I was like, oh, a birdie, I can fix his wing, Sometimes we as women think, we can fix. It's not our job. I learned the hard way. So I ignored all the signs. He would get upset over small things. My oldest son, Isaiah, is not his child. I had Isaiah when I was in college from a previous relationship. And I met my husband when Isaiah was 5. And so one day, Isaiah was on the porch, and he was drinking some juice and spilled his cup. And all of a sudden, Aaron, who was my husband, he blew up. He was upset. And I'm like, it's just juice. But I brushed it off. Maybe he's having a bad day. So we continued dating. And all the signs were still there. He would get upset, but I brushed it off, kind of let it go. We got married, had AJ. We would go to church every Sunday. During the pregnancy, I saw his anger and rage a little bit more. And more, he began to push me and shove me, and the shoving turned to kicking. I was pregnant with AJ, and I remember this one time in particular, he pushed me down on my belly. And I thought that was the end of the baby, but thank God we were able to make it through that. But it was all types of different situations, and sometimes you look on the outside, how could someone stay in that relationship? A lot of things play part in why women stay in abusive relationships. My father is a pastor. I'm a preacher's kid. But a lot of times, he was gone to a lot of meetings, so I kind of got a lack of love there. So I began searching through other people, trying to find it. So a lot of times when you look at people and they're in a domestic violence situation, you're like, well, there's a lot of background. But anyway, we were just 2 broken people, and he would argue, and we would go through these things. I called the police. I wanted to leave, but I felt like I had no options. I had family, but they're all in New Jersey. They were really unable to help themselves, let alone take me in and the children. So I felt stuck. My husband did not want me to work. He felt as if he kept the money, well, that was something over my head that he could keep over my head, And, but finally, this one day, I remember us arguing all day, and it was just so tiresome. I would pray to God at night, just don't wake me up in the morning if I have to go through this in the morning, and he's still angry. But it didn't work. I still woke up. God had a plan for me. So he was still angry. This one day, he had been drinking, and the alcohol kind of made things worse. Yelling and screaming was going on in the apartment. There had been times when the neighbors would come and check on me because they were worried about me. But this one night in particular, he passed out from drinking, and I saw him laying in the bed. And the way that I used to kind of take myself from the situation is through music. I love to sing and I love to write music. So this one night in particular, I stared at him, and I began to play this beat that I had been listening to on the internet. And all of a sudden the words just began to pour out of my soul onto the piece of paper. And I looked at him as if he was like the warden and I was like a prisoner almost. And the words in my heart just started pouring out through this song called Four Walls, and I'm going to share that with you now. And this is not only for domestic violence, but this is dedicated to any struggle in anyone's life that has been holding them back from their dreams.